Yeah, yours sounds like you have raised keys.
I very much do have raised keys.
Yeah.
They're raised as May. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's like a donut.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
Yes, that's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me. Wow, I almost missed it.
It's okay. Let's go on the blooper reel.
Rough.
That's
rough.
Anyway, that's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com, or you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. This show is also available on YouTube. You can watch us on video, and that is found at namely90s.com/YouTube. And today is our episode May 1992. It's May.
Yeah, it's May. It's going to be May, technically tomorrow for us, but
It's gonna be May. Okay,
there you go.
That Justin Timberlake meme that always comes out.
Yeah, I had forgotten about it until today, and I saw it on Instagram already.
It's our anniversary month.
It is. We started the third week of May, and that means that we're going to celebrate the fact that we've made it through a year of podcasting with our 1 year anniversary extravaganza. Sorry, I didn't put enough flair on extravaganza. I can't do it anymore.
Extravaganza.
Huh.
So, and then we'll have the riots on the 1st, as per usual.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, Star Wars Day, which is just the day that I want to slap people for being annoying. Basically.
Yeah. Me in particular, because over on, I think it's my personal account or my Rewind account, I do Star Wars Day, an entire story devoted to Star Wars Day where I do something stupid. Like,
but isn't that just kind of offensive to people with lisps?
May the 4th. Well, I mean, the one that I hate the most is that they're trying to co-opt the next day, Revenge of the 5th.
No.
And then I'm like, Revenge of the 6th makes more sense just because it's Sith with an extra character in it, whereas 5th is a slant rhyme at best.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. But you know, for our 1 year extravaganza, was it spectacular? I think it was extravaganza.
Yeah, I think spectacular.
Yeah, I know I was hitting some note weird somewhere in a word, but yeah, if you're out there and you're listening to us and you enjoy us and you want to say, hey, good job, I'm making it through a year, you can send a pre-recorded message to us. Contact us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. Grab our email.
A super secret private email for you to send it to.
Yeah. The reason we're not putting it out there is because we don't really remember what that private email is linked to. And Andrew apparently is not.
Andrew is incapable of doing anything. I would say, too, if we don't like what you have to say, we'll just sell your personal information to a bunch of like multi-level marketing people. No.
Yeah. Yeah, if you just like straight up insult us, we'll just spam your email with things that you don't like and, and pretend it was from someone else. But we'd very much like you to say hi and be like, I've been listening to Namely 90s for 1 day now, and I very much enjoy it. And I hope you guys continue on for another year or however long it takes to get to 122 episodes now, since that's how many episodes we have pre-planned.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, not pre-planned as far as they've been written, because they've not, but we have a limited number of months and days in the year, so it'll dry up eventually, and then we'll have to just figure out stuff on our own merits.
Well, that's not going to be good.
Or season 2, namely 2000s.
How are things? We haven't seen each other for a while.
Good. I mean, before we start chatting a little bit, I wanted to clarify that Travis Scott is in fact a black man. Last recording, I wasn't sure, and I said I thought he was a white rapper, and then said, but he's possibly black.
I thought he was one of those extreme motocross people from the X Games. So
like someone that looks like the lead singer of Sugar Ray with I
actually thought it was someone from Blink 182.
Oh yeah, with Travis Barker probably.
But I mean, I guess you can be those things and also be black. So I feel like yes, the race thing definitely worth making a correction on.
He's a prominent rapper that people liked enough that he got his own like McDonald's meal. So I feel like that is worthy of a correction.
Literally never heard of him
at the top of the episode.
Ever. But also I listen to mostly music that's 45 to 50 years old and talk radio. So, well, because I'm in my McDonald's 70s
on occasion. So I knew about the Travis Scott meal. I just didn't know who he was. Still apparently didn't know who he was. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. You've been busy. I've been things. And yeah, I've been okay. It's
good.
Just, yeah, I've been keeping busy somehow. And, I got my first a COVID shot, which I think I talked about last time. I'm not sure. And,
yeah, because I think we made those jokes about buying Microsoft products.
Oh, right. Yes. And it starts to wear off after a while, but I have a strange inkling to just trade in my PS4 for the new Xbox. Oh, before I forget, I'm going to be guesting on today's episode of the True North Collective. New friends of the podcast, the True North Collective is hosted by Rachel and Janelle, which is a gathering of unsugar-coated conversations on authenticity, celebrating everyday humans, fearlessly finding and living their true north. They also host workshops to help you find it or follow it. I was invited on for what they call a mashup episode, along with a film director from LA named Christy Canochala. Sorry, Christy, to talk about chasing happiness. She said it once, so I don't know if I got it correct or not. I didn't. And their third guest wasn't able to make it, but that's out today. You can check out all of that on their website, thetruenorthcollective.org, and find the episode I'm on wherever podcasts are casted.
Wherever good podcasts are sold. Oh, wait, no, that's what people say about books. No, that's awesome. Anytime we can collaborate with a fellow podcast, even if it's outside of our purview, that's always nice. So we appreciate the ability to support them.
It was definitely a little bit outside of our norm, but yeah. It was,
what is our norm? Just you saying stuff that I know nothing about, basically.
Yeah.
Is there a podcast for that?
As Gaz and Dange would call it, just us faffing about.
I feel like if I was on that podcast, she would ask me questions, and I'd be like, I don't remember. It would just go nowhere. I don't know. Tell me about your childhood. I didn't watch it.
Rachel and Janelle were good hosts, and I don't know if I mentioned their name earlier when I talked about.
I feel like you did.
Yeah, I have it written down, but I don't know if I said it.
Well, I will be tuning in. I can guarantee you that.
Awesome. Enjoy hearing about chasing happiness from 4 people. I was a little bit. I started to feel a little, you know how I am. I'm like awkward around other people that I don't
nostalgic.
know. Well, no, it was just 3 women that are very good at talking and being open. I'm just like, hey, I'm the funny guy over here. But, I think I managed to open up and do some good.
It was you gave a clinic in deflecting, I'm sure. No, just
no. I tried to be as open as I could. So anyway, what's up with you? Yeah, tune in. How are you? I thought I would ask how are you first.
Well, good. I was thinking of something funny. Before I got here, we ordered sandwiches at work because no one brought lunch, and I got a turkey and provolone sandwich.
From Subway?
No, it's from this local place.
Okay.
And the sandwich is like, first of all, I always order extra mustard. I love yellow mustard.
That's not going to end well.
And so the sandwich comes, it's got like the thinnest piece of bread on either side. And it's like a real squishy, sort of cushy bread. It doesn't have a lot of structure to it. And I swear to God, like 3 inches of just shaved turkey meat. Then several slices of provolone, the tomato, the lettuce, and when I said extra mustard, they really went extra on the mustard, which I appreciated. But it was one of those sandwiches where you're trying to eat it and you can just feel it disintegrating. And I'm like,
oh, like in your hands.
You have to keep holding it the whole time. You can't put it down. Yeah. And I get to there's a fair amount left. I take the last bite and it completely comes apart. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just done with the sandwich now, but that's fine because I just ate about 20 pounds of turkey. But I'm pretty sure if I had actually gotten into a kiddie pool filled with mustard, I probably would have had less mustard on me. This thing was it was a disaster.
So, I'm imagining your final bite is there's no piece of bread left. It's just you're holding the turkey and the cheese together with mustard on your hands.
So much mustard. I had to excuse myself to the restroom to wash my almost entire body. And somehow, miraculously, did not get any on my clothes. But there was that thing that happens where you bite through the tomato, but the skin is still intact. So the mustard covered tomato slaps against your face. I was like,
good Lord. Okay,
I'm really bad at eating sandwiches. My God, that's a lot of mustard. Anyway.
I have a fun segue for this. That's going to be very clunky. It's like you're the awkward kid in high school that's a giant nerd and can't eat sandwiches correctly. Maybe they'll make you prom king. So where I'm going with this is that I saw yesterday on Instagram that He's All That is coming to Netflix on August 27th. Do you remember when we talked about She's All That, starring Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachel Lee Cook? Yeah.
I didn't know you were allowed to do that. I didn't know you were allowed to take something that was like a she and make it a he, but you could go from the male to female, like Girl Meets World. Yeah,
like Girls Meets World. It's exactly that.
Opposite.
Yes, it is exactly opposite of that. But it's the same concept. It's I believe it's called gender bending in the fans community.
But I didn't know you were allowed to go back toward male. I didn't know it was allowed.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Well, when a movie is as problematic as it was, because the crux of the movie is that Rachel Lee Cook's the nerdy student that's homely and whatever, and then
the premise is going from a female's perspective, but the title is going. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense now.
So now it's going to be told from a teenage girl's point of view, and then it goes downhill from there.
I'm sure it does. And this is going to be on Paramount Plus, Peacock?
Netflix. It says, let me just read you a quick summary. The contemporary story follows an influencer, Ray, who accepts a challenge to turn the school's biggest loser, Buchanan, into prom king. The reimagining star's TikTok sensation turned actress Addison Rae, who sources say is a key reason why the remake took off. And the film also stars Cobra Kai's Tanner Buchanan and the original star Rachel Lee Cook, who is taking on a new role in this iteration. Also Matthew Lillard's in it for some reason. Oh, and speaking of Girl Meets World, Peyton Meyer's in it, who was the love interest for I don't remember her name, Corey's daughter in Girl Meets World. So continuity there. He's wondering why I know this. I've said this on the podcast. I watched the entirety of Boy Meets World and then went right into Girl Meets World.
We have documented evidence, folks.
Yeah.
He's admitting to having done that.
It was a good show. I would recommend you watch it with your children. And, one day if I don't get thrown in jail for this, would watch it with them as well.
Wow. So let's talk about what was going on in May of 1992. What do you got for us?
Let's see. Travel back, will you, with me to May 1992. On the 1st, Rodney King Riots happened in Los Angeles, California after four Los Angeles policemen, 3 of them white, were acquitted of the savage beating of Rodney King, an Afro-American man, caught on camera by a bystander. Graphic video of the attack was broadcast into the homes across the nation and worldwide.
Isn't it such a relief that things like that don't happen anymore?
Right.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Hold on. More to come on that. Continue.
On the 1st, Sesame Street broadcast its 3,000th episode. On the 9th, on the 300th anniversary of the Salem Witch Trials, a memorial was dedicated to the victims in the town of Danvers. Yeah.
Remind me to come back to that.
I will remind you to come back to that. On the 13th, 3 astronauts do a spacewalk at the same time for the first time. I believe that was on the ISS. And on the 19th, the 27th Amendment is ratified. Can you tell me what the 27th Amendment is?
Well, obviously, it's the amendment that prohibits any law. Oh, boy. See how wait.
It prohibits any law that increases or decreases the salary of members of Congress during their current term.
I botched that. I was going to try to be like, oh, well, clearly that's the...
Yeah,
no, I don't know. I can't read aloud, apparently. Yeah, but
wow, even with it in front of you, you dropped that one. I'm very impressed. On the 19th, Amy Fisher shoots Mary Jo Buttafuoco in the face after an altercation over an affair with her husband.
I feel like Family Guy just uses that name as a punchline repeatedly.
No, it's in reference to these people.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Joey Buttafuoco had like the parachute pants, and he was.
It's just that name, man. That's a funny name.
He was in fact a Italian stereotype. It might have been the other way around. Mary Jo Buttafuoco might have shot Amy Fisher in the face. Now that I think about it.
Okay, well, we can correct that next time.
Yeah, well, that little correction in 2 weeks. On the 19th, Dan Quayle, U.S. Vice President at the time, spoke at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco. During his speech, he criticized the Murphy Brown character for mocking the importance of fathers by bearing a child alone, and as a poor example of family values.
The Commonwealth Club is probably primarily comprised of rich white people, very cis.
Which is strange being in San Francisco.
I know, but I'm just imagining. I don't even know that to be true. What I'm imagining, it's very true.
I assume it was a benefit for his run at presidency.
Wow,
Andrew.
Yeah.
Very important news. On the 19th, Billy Ray Cyrus's debut album, Some Gave All, is released. The one with Achy Breaky Heart on it.
Neat.
On the 22nd, Johnny Carson's last appearance as a host of The Tonight Show. I don't know if you actually want to talk about that at some point, but it ruined country for me. On the 22nd, Johnny Carson's last appearance as host of The Tonight Show. The 22nd was Johnny Carson's last appearance as host of The Tonight Show. And on the 25th, Jay Leno takes over as host of The Tonight Show for the first time. Hashtag Team Coco. On the 29th, Robert Downey Jr. weds actress and singer Deborah Falconer. And we're going to play a quick game. Andrew, are you ready for a quick game? We haven't done this in a long time.
Let's do it.
I have 3 questions for you. First, I want you to guess the name of Robert Downey Jr.'s son with Ms. Deborah Falconer. And I'm going to give you a list of 5 California cities, and one of them is the correct answer. Is it Fresno, Malibu, Irvine, Indio, or Torrance?
Ooh, I could see any of these actually being the name. That's the problem.
That's why I picked it. I'll give you two guesses. 2 guesses.
Malibu.
Malibu is incorrect. Remember, it's their son.
I'm going Torrance.
Ooh, the correct answer was Indio.
Okay, that doesn't sound like a name to me. That's why I didn't choose it.
That's fair enough. I mean, they're all just names of cities. And
well,
now
back then he was on a bunch of cocaine, right?
Yes, among other things.
Yes.
Speaking of which, how many days did they date before getting married? And
5.
Ooh, how many guesses do you want? Because that was
not
incorrect.
that many. Too high, too low.
Too low.
It's 9.
Nope, higher. Last one.
Oh my gosh, 13.
42. They dated a full 42 days before getting married.
That's now weeks. I assume that you meant days. It meant like less than a week. All right.
I mean, that's less than 2 months.
And then what's the next? Was there another question?
Yeah, the final one is, in what year did they get divorced?
1993.
No, they actually made it to 2004. They split in, I believe, 2003 when Robert Downey Jr. was at his lowest point.
I failed spectacularly at all of those.
And then 2004 is when he got remarried as well to his current wife. Well, thanks for playing. Too bad that one wasn't for the trophy. On TV premiering and or ending this month. Let's start with what's ending. On the 9th, we have the On the 9th, we have the Golden Girls airing their final episode. And on the 31st, the final episode of Night Court airs. And then on the 21st, The Real World debuts on MTV. Some of those kids out there don't even know what MTV is, man. I don't know what that voice is.
Freaky.
Right. In the box office, on the 1st, we have K2. On the 8th, we have Crisscross. On the 15th, Lethal Weapon 3. On the 22nd is Alien 3 and Encino Man. And on the 29th, we have Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg. And then I liked the first one. The second one was in the Billboard charts for the first week in May. Number 1 coming from April and for the entire month and into June is Jump by Crisscross, unrelated to the movie. Number 3 is Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. I believe that's from the Clapton Comes Alive album, or no, the Unplugged album, whatever that one's called. And it's unplugged, isn't it? Yeah. On the 4th,
it's unplugged. Yeah.
On the 4th, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Not on the 4th. Number 4 is Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, which was brought back into popularity by Wayne's World, which we mentioned in our last 1992 episode. On the 12th, Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Number 13. Did I say on the 12th? Number 12, Under the Bridge. Number 13, One by... Oh, wow. I am having troubles today, sir. Nope.
You keep doing it wrong. Number 13.
Number 13. Thank you. You can take them if you want. I can't.
Okay. Number 14, Beauty and the Beast by Celine Dion. And at number 25, I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I never thought that I could just toss it over to you.
I'm redeeming myself for when I forgot how to speak earlier when I was trying to read off that thing about that amendment.
That's a good point. That's why we don't toss it over to you. And speaking of tossing it over to people, I know we just did this last week, but Thank you. I'm a professional. We are going to toss it across the pond to our friends in the UK, Gaz and Dange of the Insanely Dangerous Retro Podshow, for some headlines in the UK for May 1992.
Good evening. Here are your headlines from May 1992. A new 5th terminal at Heathrow announced. Right Said Fred is deeply dippy. Final TV appearance of the dog Willie on EastEnders. Wayne's World hits the UK cinemas.
Dange! Dange! Dange!
What? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Shut up at the back. Anyway, there's a bloody show going on in the background there. Let's throw it back to those lovely guys at Namely 90s. Let's throw it back to them.
And now back to the show. You can find the resolution to those headlines this Wednesday over on the season finale of season 1 of the Insanely Dangerous Retro Podshow, which releases midnight GDT. Thanks again to Gaz and Dange for doing that. You know, I was surprised that Wayne's World took so long to get to release in the UK because, like I said, we just talked about it in our last 1992 episode, which, if I do my math correctly, was in February.
I want to ask this: what's harder to say than the name of their podcast?
Actually, funny story. Like back when we first were like becoming friends with them, I think that's the point. They do love the being languid. I kept confusing insanely for like any other I word that also kind of means the same thing, like infamously or like incredibly. I would always say, like, I would always start typing out the Incredibly Dangerous Retro Pod Show, but you know, they shortened it. Go ahead. Like
Retro Pod Show. You always want to say Retro Prod Show. And I'm like, what? They just spend the whole hour poking someone from the 1980s
or 90s.
Sure.
Yeah, no, we love a Gaz and Dange. Actually, they got to interview the star of, I believe it was Slide of the Navigator, which was really cool. But yeah, check them out on Wednesday. So you said to remind you about the Salem Witch Trials.
Oh, yeah. Apparently there's a theory that, like,
it was Agatha all along.
No, I think it was something like the grain that they were using to make their bread had ergot on it, which I believe ergot poisoning causes like a hallucinogenic state, so that some people theorize they were essentially tripping on shrooms at that time, which is actually a pretty good theory.
That is actually quite cool. And that's why,
which I stole from another podcast, but you know, hey, here we are.
Cool. Well, where should we go? Do you want to do? I mean, we should talk about the big thing that was happening in America.
Sure.
Or you said
the Murphy Brown controversy?
Oh yeah, definitely.
No. Police brutality.
Yeah. Like the Rodney King riots. I don't think I was cognizant enough to remember this, but also, you know, we lived in the Seattle area.
I'm pretty sure my parents wouldn't have let me watch someone being savagely beaten when I was 4 years old. So,
you know, you'd hope. You'd hope. Yeah, and
again, obviously, I'd like to clarify my statement that these things don't happen anymore. That was a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic comment, because these things happen damn near every day, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. But it finally feels like it might be somewhat of a turning point.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I feel like it's a very small, you know, the conviction of the officer who, which one are we talking? I forget.
Was
which
it
one.
Chauvin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The conviction of him is like definitely a big positive step. I saw one person who said basically that he didn't get a fair trial. And someone else is like, yeah, neither did George Floyd. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. Because even guilty people shouldn't be killed in the streets. Like, it's just not.
Yes.
Anyway.
No, I
crazy.
agree.
Craziness.
Not
saying he was guilty. I'm just saying, even if you are guilty of a crime, you shouldn't expect to be killed unless you're like actually shooting at the police or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. You know, I don't know the efficacy of kneeling on someone for nearly 9 minutes, but I believe that is you know, somewhat of not good thing to do. No,
it's actually good for the body. Most physicians would agree that it's beneficial. Yeah. No,
it's that's what chiropractors do. But so, yeah, it's I think you said everything eloquently.
I need to now talk about Dan Quayle's comment.
Yes.
Like, because the traditional family values have just set us up for so much success. Like,
I mean, the fact that he said this in San Francisco of all places, that is what impressed me. Like, it's San Francisco.
The audacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's completely ridiculous. What is the Commonwealth Club?
So, fun story about that. Since he referred to, he didn't say like Murphy Brown, the show or whatever. He was just like Murphy Brown. So they used his clips of him insulting her single motherhood in the actual following season, and like had a whole storyline where it's like Dan Quayle attacks Murphy Brown for being a single mother. And yeah, I was kind of impressed.
As he tunes into Roseanne to watch her be racist.
Well, no, it was because she was like a news reporter or something that came back from battling alcoholism. I never watched it.
But like mocking the importance of fathers by bearing a child alone.
Yeah. It's definitely.
But just one father, to be clear. Two would be unnatural and wrong too, in his opinion. So
yes.
let's be careful there.
Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle, everybody.
Yeah. Vice President of the United States. But yeah, interesting that was like the big, well, because that was the big thing at the time. Murphy Brown being a single mother, she led the way for single mothers on television. Because I don't think up until that point.
I think it's a good thing to actually put on TV because it represents something real that actually happens in our society.
Yeah.
When you portray every situation as a man and a woman with a child that are married, it's like that's one possible family structure, but there's so many others.
Which at the
Why
time,
do we only talk about those on TV, right?
That was everything you saw. Family Matters, Step by Step, dinosaurs, even.
Yep.
It was, yeah. It was what was it called? A nuclear family. Nuclear family. Yeah, people are going to say I've said it wrong.
Literally radioactive families.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to talk about a bunch of stuff that I've never seen?
Yep.
Go.
I always do. Isn't that what this podcast is called?
Yeah.
You haven't seen Encino Man? Really? Come on.
I didn't know it was a comedy. I thought it was like a thriller or horror movie.
Nope. It is a comedy film. It was starring Brendan Fraser, Sean Astin, and Pauly Shore. And the plot revolves around two geeky teenagers from Encino, Los Angeles, California, played by Austin and Shore, who discover a caveman in Morgan in one of their backyards, frozen in a block of ice. Sean Astin, I believe, he was one of the hobbits in Lord of the Rings. Sam.
Well, it's funny because I was actually just thinking about him earlier. We were talking about the May the 4th be with you.
Yes. Why?
And there's a movie where Sean Astin has a lisp. I can't remember which one it is.
Is it Rudy? No.
Where he's like, is this the guy? What's that one?
Ooh, I don't know.
Let's look that up.
I remember he played like the small football player. I think it's called Rudy, where he's trying like he eventually leads his team to victory, but he was being picked on because he was a small guy. It's supposed to be every sports fan's like crying moment movie.
Oh, 50 First Dates.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, he's in that movie. That's the movie where he says, "Is this the guy with the lisp?" So it reminded me of that. I was thinking about him earlier in the episode. That's kind of funny. Tying it all in.
Adam Sandler movie, man. Always fun.
Yeah, every other Adam Sandler movie is ridiculously funny. But there's something about like then the other ones are always like he does the voice the whole time and the jokes aren't funny. Don't do the voice. Okay.
Or don't dress up as a woman.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad taste now. Unless that's your thing. Then it's fine. But if it's just for comedy in a movie, then no.
Yeah. I think I followed you and agree with you. But
my point is if you're a man and you want to dress up as a woman, that's perfectly fine. If you're just exploiting that for comedy, cheap, bad comedy, I don't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Yes. agree. I saw Encino Man on TV when I was younger a few times, and I mean, it had Brendan Fraser pre-Mummy, so he was more like, back then he was like, he looked like a caveman. And it seemed like a stoner comedy. Now that I think it, because A, Pauly Shore was in it, and 2, it had Brendan Fraser being a caveman unfrozen
like
from
you
block
went
of ice.
You went from A to 2.
Yes, I heard it, and I was going to comment on it, but you got to me first.
2 C. Roman numeral 3.
Anyway. Bullet point. But yeah, speaking of things that you haven't seen Golden Girls? You haven't seen an episode of Golden Girls?
I feel like I've seen stills of the Golden Girls published to the internet.
Do you even know the actresses that were the Golden Girls?
No.
Okay, so Golden Girls was an American television sitcom on NBC that ran from 85 to 1992. Duh. And 7 seasons. It starred It starred B. Arthur, Betty White, Rue McClanahan, and Estelle Getty as 4 older women who share a friendship and a home in Miami, Florida. I think one of them's their mother. And yeah, Betty White, like, it was Betty White. Betty White was awesome. And I don't know. I've watched probably more episodes than I care to admit of the Golden Girls, but I can picture some of the intro. Thank you for being a friend in my head. And yeah, it was classic, like, early 90s sitcom, but it was for like retirement age women that were just being sexually provocative.
Other than Betty White.
Betty White's still alive. I think B. Arthur passed away recently, and the other 2 definitely are dead. I don't know. It's bleak, and I didn't think to ask that.
I was just curious. The reason. Okay, let me just clarify why I asked that question. I was going to make a joke about doing a reboot, and then I was like, wait a second.
With all of them?
Or a revival, which is probably a bad choice of words.
B. Arthur died in 2009.
Oh.
And Rue McClanahan died in 2010.
Oh, sad.
And
so, did you like it?
2008
you liked
for Getty. I did. It's just one of those feel good sitcoms, popcorn sitcoms that you could watch. So I always wanted to know which of the 4. It's like Sex and the City. If they were all, no, it's Sex and the City. But
I like what you're implying there.
Thank you. But I thought we should take this BuzzFeed quiz to see which Golden Girls we are before we end the episode, depending on how long it's been running.
All right. So our first question is: choose a vacation destination: France, Finland, Fiji, or Japan.
Where you go? I'm going to go to Japan because that's on my bucket list for travel.
I would go to all these places, but I'm going France. I think it's on a similar latitude I know how to deal with.
I think Finland's the only one that I don't really have on my list of traveling places.
I wouldn't, like, if someone just said, hey, you can go to Finland, I'd be like, all right, but I'm not going to, like, plan a trip probably.
Right. Pick the gift you'd most like to receive: chocolate, car, concert tickets, or clothes.
That's a car for me.
Yeah. Why would you?
If I have a choice in the matter, but
out of all of them, it is the most expensive.
Yes. And I could sell it and buy any of the other things if I don't like the kind of car it was.
Exactly. Maybe take a hit on your taxes, though. Pick an outfit.
Yes.
Do you want to describe these for our viewers or listeners?
There's one with a woman. It looks like a woman in jeans with some heeled leather boots and some kind of a coat, maybe a sport coat, long sleeve shirt, and 2 watches or a bracelet. And then there's a lady with like some linen higher waisted pants and sort of a flowy gray blouse. Brandon's enjoying this. Woman with, I believe, a blue top with banana pattern and a mid-thigh sort of salmon skirt. And then someone in like a loosely knit sweater in cream with a sort of autumn fall-y colored scarf tied in the front.
Draping loose down. Describes the spacing of the knitting. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yes. I'm going with the scarf and sweater lady.
I was going to pick that too because I have a scarf very similar to that. So I guess I will pick the leather boots.
Are you impressed by my descriptive abilities?
I was very impressed. I think you're not a clothes sponsor is really helping you out with your descriptions.
Pick a Leonardo DiCaprio movie: Wolf of Wall Street, Titanic, Inception, or Shutter Island.
Oh,
why is the one with the bear not on here?
This was probably made prior to that.
Well, I've seen 3 of these somewhat.
I've only seen one of these all the way through.
I'll go with Inception. I think I fell asleep, which is kind of ironic.
I don't think you ever woke up. This is the Incepting. Well, so I was going to pick that too, but I guess I will pick Shutter Island because... Yeah.
I did see that, but I can't really remember it. And he went crazy by himself in like an old lighthouse or something.
Yes, I think that was it. Or if you believe the other side of the story where he wasn't crazy, there's like a cult trying to kill him or something.
Let's see.
Pick a
next?
color. I should let you do these. There's a teal, a green, a yellow, or a red.
I'm going green. I'm always a green holdout.
I'll do teal. I'm usually a blue.
All right. Our next one is choose an activity. Picture of a person hiking in a valley. Picture of a record playing. It's multicolored for some reason. And then someone writing in a book and someone skiing. I'm going to go with the music.
I'm gonna do that too because I have an actual vinyl collection with multicolored vinyl like that.
And finally, pick a food.
Ooh.
Giant burger. Well, maybe finally. Giant hamburger that looks a little bit too artisan and kind of gross, honestly.
There's arugula on that for sure.
A large slice of pizza that looks kind of soggy. A boat full of sushi. And looks like butternut squash or pumpkin soup.
I think it's a tomato, but...
It's orange on my screen.
It's
like a
orange.
bisque.
Yeah, maybe a lobster bisque.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick... Oh, wait, no, I'll let you go first.
I don't know. I'm going to go with the burger.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to steal the sushi.
I'm assuming you're going with sushi, or is that offensive?
Yes, I went with sushi, and yes, that is offensive. For you to say it. No. Who'd you get?
Rose Nyland.
Aw. Rose is no, that's not Betty White's character.
No.
That's the promiscuous one.
No. It says, like Rose, you're loving and innocent. You enjoy all of life's simple pleasures and care deeply for the people in your life.
Huh. I got Dorothy Zubernick. Like Dorothy, you're smart and sarcastic. Sometimes you come across as intimidating, but that's only because you prefer to keep your emotions on the inside.
And mine was played by Betty White.
Oh, so that is Betty White in your photo that's in front of you. When I said, is that Betty White?
She looked different, and it's also like a low-res picture from the late 90s, or late 80s, early 90s.
The one I'm looking at is like a crisp GIF from NBC of B. Arthur. Okay, so yes, that was Betty White's character. I'm kind of jealous you got Betty White.
Betty White.
No, she's not the promiscuous one. Or, set up as the Samantha of the group to bring it into the later 90s.
Wow, that was extremely informative.
Yep. So, yeah, anything else from 1992?
I'm all set. I think we went over anyway.
Yeah, I think we did it. So that is it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Find us on Twitter and Instagram by going to @Namely90s with a 90s, or find our personal accounts at bshwitty and Namely Andrew on Twitter, and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. You can contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Golden Girls, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts at. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time.
Lots and lots of mustard.